You are listening to Smart Women's Dating Podcast, episode number 87. Welcome to Smart Women's Dating Podcast. I am your host, certified life coach Lærke Nielsen, and I help smart, independent women attract the love they deeply desire without having to chase or settle. This podcast will give you the mindset, tools, and insights you need to finally crack the code to your love life. Are you ready? Then let's go. Hey there, how are you all doing? What I want to talk about today is a situation that I know a lot of you only know too well, and myself included from the past, and that I often get questions about and I help my clients manage. So I'm first going to explain to you a little bit about the situation, what it's all about, and then I will give you 5 tools to manage that. But before we dive into the topic, I just want to give you one more reminder. If you haven't listened to the bonus episode that I sent out 2 days ago, go give it a listen because you will hear much more about what it is I'm planning to offer in the group course on feminine energy that is going to start at the end of August. You still can sign up for the interest list. You still can be part of the group who gets more information and who gets invited to an information call on the 20th of August. So I really encourage you to go and listen to this episode and get a little bit more insight in what it is that you can learn and why you want to learn it. That's, of course, really important as well. And I'm going to tell you, there are some insane bonuses in that program. So you definitely don't want to miss out on that. So sign up for the interest list. The link is in the show notes. So let's get started. You've met someone, or let me say, finally, you met someone who seems interesting and that you also feel very attracted to. And it seems that he's into you too. Except not all of the time. I mean, if he was a clear no, it would just be too bad, but you would know that, right? The problem comes when he's maybe a yes and then not after all, maybe pulling away and then coming back. And you get a little taste of what it's like to have his attention and be in the connection. And then it disappears. So it's like you have him and then you don't. And then you have him and then you don't. And it's very confusing and also very anxiety provoking. Now, we should always be able to accept a level of uncertainty in early dating, actually all the way to the 3 months mark. And even after that, we have to accept that there are never any hard guarantees in a relationship, even if we do feel and should feel safe in general when with the right partner. Uncertainty is always a basic condition in a relationship, and especially in early dating. But there are some situations where the uncertainty is just way too big and the signals are too mixed. Let's say he's all into you and want to plan a weekend trip or talks about things in the future, the one day, and then the next day you don't hear from him for a week or longer. Or he answers messages not before the day after or several days after reading and only with very short and factual responses. So when you see him, it all feels amazing, but the moment you say goodbye, the anxiety starts to creep in. So you start to feel triggered, not just once in a while, but maybe once a week or more. The uncertainty is in itself an uncomfortable feeling, but it's even more uncomfortable if the uncertainty is about something you think you really, really want, and that you can almost get, but then it's taken away from you again. And when I say it's something you think you want, it's very intentional, and I'm going to come back to that later. Now, you can, if you lean towards anxious attachment and you meet someone like this, you can experience that your anxiety is activated and spikes. This would not be the case with other people, but this particular kind of behavior is triggering your anxiety. And if you then also throw into the equation that you don't meet someone you like that often, and it's been a while since last time, so you really, really want to do everything you can to make this happen, then you have the perfect cocktail of becoming almost a little bit obsessed. So what does that mean, being obsessed? It means you constantly check your phone for messages. You read his latest messages again and again, and you ruminate, you overthink what happened last time you saw him and what you want to do differently next time, or how you can get him to be more consistent. And maybe you notice that you are starting to compromise or change your opinions about things to impress him or to make him like you more. You start to think strategically about what kind of woman he wants you to be. And you basically think about him more or less all the time, at least the days after having seen him. Then maybe you have a couple of days where you can focus on something else, but then when 5 or 6 days have gone by, you start wondering again about what the heck is going on, because you didn't hear from him again. You try to figure out what he might be thinking about you, what is going on his side, what is happening in his mind, and you don't get any clear answers. And if you're really deep into this, you start being so affected that you're not able to concentrate properly at work, or you are less present at work and with friends. Instead, you try to imagine what he's doing now and when you will hear from him again. So, at this stage, you are giving away way too much of your power to someone who might not even want it. You are giving him all your bandwidth, and he didn't earn that place in your life at all. Now, this is you abandoning yourself. This is self-abandonment. You are no longer connected to yourself and your true values. You have forgotten who you are and what it feels like to be confident and to value yourself. So, now is the time to come back home to you and take back your power. And so I'm going to give you 5 tools to do that. Tool number 1. I want you to focus back on yourself. How are you? Not how do you feel the 1% of the time when you see him, but how do you feel the 99% of the time when you don't? If it was to continue like this for another 6 months, how would you feel? Would you be okay with that? Do a little reality check. Look at his actions separately. What is he actually doing? And what would you want him to do? And how big is the gap between that? We tend to sometimes date people from their potential or this idea of what they're capable of and what it could be like, if only they do as we think they should. Don't do that. Instead, think of what it would be like if things continued exactly like they are now. And here I also want you to think of yourself as your person. Your job in this world is to take care of your person, to make the right decisions for her, to listen when she's sad, to notice when she's suffering in silence, and not force her to endure things that you know with your rational thinking is most likely not going to go anywhere, or at least where you don't see any evidence of this going in the right direction. If you think of yourself as another person that you are making decisions for, you are responsible for, you are the caretaker of this person, then how would you respond now? Maybe you would say, enough is enough. Or you would say, okay, we did that, we tried that, we didn't see the outcome we wanted, let's move on to something more rewarding. Tool number 2 is remember who you were before and that you are totally capable of having a great life without him. Remind yourself of some of the greatest moments you had in the past 6 or 12 months, the moments where you felt most alive, with friends or going out on some kind of adventure or throwing yourself into a new challenge that felt scary but at the same time exciting, like a super growth opportunity, taking on a project at work or in your business or signing up to run a marathon or whatever you can imagine. You can also look further back in time if you feel that there was a specific moment 3 years ago where you felt super alive. Maybe you can even look at some pictures on your phone. That's a really efficient way of bringing back this atmosphere and the emotions of an experience. Remember who you are when you are most alive. You as a woman, as a person, not necessarily someone next to a man. This is another way of reconnecting to your identity. It's a positive version of connecting to your core the best version of who you are. And tool number 3, I want you to just care less about him now. He's a person who didn't earn that kind of investment from you yet. It definitely would help if you can date other men. You're not supposed to set your future love life on pause just because one guy can't seem to make up his mind. You gotta keep your options open. If you are not, then you are de facto giving him your exclusivity. A man who isn't showing you very clearly that he is investing in you emotionally. He cannot earn exclusivity with you. It's just not possible. Your exclusivity is a gift. It's a rare commitment. It's a decision that is a result of consistent experience of this connection moving in the right direction. A man has to earn your exclusivity, so don't give it away like that. And if you just don't feel like seeing others, if you think this will only make you feel more sad and miss him more, then at least make sure to go out with friends. Don't keep your Saturday evenings open for him just in case. Make sure to block all the typical date nights with friends and fun activities. Tool number 4, I want you to recondition yourself. Now, this tool is something I want you to really try to integrate in all your dating connections, because this in itself will help you avoid heartbreak and feel so much more on top of things in dating. It takes a little bit of practice, but once you manage to do this, you shift your way of seeing guys and you shift the kind of person you feel attracted to, and you will be in such a better place. I want you to recondition yourself to think that hesitation, hot and cold, mixed signals, here today, gone tomorrow, and then maybe back next week, all of that is just not very sexy or attractive. It's just plain boring, effing waste of your time. Someone who isn't coming towards you, that is not interesting. It's a turn-off. End of story. If you can recondition your brain to think like this, if you can really practice changing the way you see men, and every time someone is not coming towards you, not taking initiative, not really sure when to see you again, not really answering your messages, not really responding the way you want, you are just going to lose interest. If you can recondition yourself to that, you will save yourself from so much heartbreak, and you will save so much time, and you will feel so much better. So try to really take this tool and integrate that. It will help you so much. And then the last tool, number 5, is I want you to think about this and really try to be open to it. And that is when we obsess about someone we just met, when we're not actually in a relationship with them. We don't really know them that well, and they don't know us either. You want to take a deep look inside yourself and ask, is it really about him? Is it really about him, or is it the longing in you more than anything else? You think you really want him, but is it in reality him? Or is it more the idea of him and the idea of the relationship you thought you could have with him? The idea of feeling connected. And that is something you want to take seriously. Do not take him seriously, but take your longing seriously. You desire something in your life. You desire someone you can create a relationship with. And you can take that desire seriously without having a clear idea about who you're going to create that with. You can make a commitment to yourself that you will go on a quest, you will go on a love journey to find this person that you can create the connected and loving relationship with, and that you will not compromise your standards and you will not give up or sign out of your dream, that you are determined to find that person, even if it's going to take a year or more. And that does not equal living from a premise that you can only be happy and have a fulfilling life when you find this person. That's important to remember. Nothing can stop you from being a happy single woman with an exciting life and still want that deep connection with a very special person in your life. You can do both, and the more you can create an interesting and fulfilling life for yourself, the better place you are in, because then you are not in a hurry. You have time to wait. You're not tempted to compromise or settle with someone that you know deep inside isn't the right one for you. And if you're looking for a life partner, then you have time. You have time to let things develop in a natural pace and that allow you to keep both feet on the ground and to get to know someone gradually so you can evaluate the connection when you have much more real life experience with this person. If someone is the man for you long term, he can totally wait for that. So those were 5 tools to use when you feel destabilized by a man who sends you mixed signals and goes hot and cold. And I hope this helps, and I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. And don't forget to sign up on the interest list for my upcoming group program on empowered feminine energy. I will be closing the list soon. And of course, as usual, if you want my personalized support, you can book a free consult call on the link in the show notes. Have a wonderful week out there. If you like what you're hearing on this podcast and you want to get support from a coach on your love journey, I invite you to book a free consult call with me. You will find the link in the show notes. And also, don't forget to subscribe, and I would love it if you would rate and review this podcast, and then you'll also help other women find it.